Today on the Satellite Nerd, we're going to take a look at this 36-inch KU band satellite dish, and we're going to attach an HH motors to get all of the satellites that are available in my area along the geostationary arc here in North America. Alright, I'm going to start by showing you a few websites that will help you. The first one I'd like to point out is this one here, dishpointer.com. And what this is, you enter your address here at the top. It'll work for Canada, United States. Just enter your full address or your zip code or postal code should work. And it uses Google Maps, and it will tell you your latitude and longitude here at the bottom of the screen. Now, if you're in the eastern part of the hemisphere, you'll be able to get all these satellites, but for most people probably watching this video are probably in North America. So the satellites they'll be looking for is like, because we're doing a motor, you find here where your motor true south is. So you can see that there's a green line there. The interesting thing too with this, if you're pointing at a satellite that's out of your range, it will be a red line to indicate the line of sight. And if you're on a satellite that's in your range, it will have a green. Now this is just the true south point. If you click on this little tab here, it'll tell you your latitude and longitude. Those are important things to have when you're entering in your USALS on your satellite receiver so that it can automatically track the geostationary arc. In some areas there's satellites that are too west for you to get, so that it'll get that red line. Is get SatFinder, which is a free app that you can get on the Google Play Store, probably available on iOS as well. And this website themselves have an app called Dish Pointer, but it's a pay app. There is a free app, SatFinder. It does the same thing, actually works exactly the same, except there's ads. So as you can see here, if you're tracking the arc and you want to see if there's any buildings or trees that might be blocking your line of sight, this is a great tool to have. At your several sites, you can go find out your satellite channels and transponders. One site is SatHint, which we're going to look at. There's also LinkSat and TVRO, all have satellite charts, and they keep you up to date on the latest channels that come and go on the satellite chart. Just going to take a quick look at Galaxy 19. You might look at the satellite charts and see this. There's some satellites that have 4 digits for the frequency. Those are C-band. So I'm just going to scroll down here because I'm doing a KU band dish. So you can see these channels here that have 5 digits vertical, and then there's the symbol right there. So you enter your frequency and the polarization, which would be either horizontal or vertical. So here's a look at all the channels that are on Galaxy 19 that are listed on SatHint. If they're in the clear, it'll just indicate here, clear. It's in the clear. Now, if they're encrypted, they'll probably have like an indication saying it's whatever form of encryption that the channels are using. Like here we go, knowledge channel says PowerView. That's an encrypted channel. PowerView is a type of encryption that is not in the clear. So those channels will be encrypted. You won't be able to pick them up. Please check out freesatellitetv.net. And also check out the new shop where you can order free satellite TV, LMBs, receivers, and dishes, all sorts of things for your free-to-air needs over at the freesatellitetv.net shop. Alright, so this is the motor for a satellite dish. My first motor was this one. It's actually very similar. Actually, it has all the same ratings except it was from DMS International. Here's the DigiPower motor. It's a DiSEqC HH motor, SG2100. Simplest way of installation. I'm just going to read this box here. It says the exact same thing. Of installation and upgrade, specially designed to receive for a receiver with DiSEqC. I never can say that word, so I apologize if I get it wrong. DiSEqC 1.2. Everything is controlled via one coax cable. High efficiency designed, compact structure, ultra low noise, adjustable hardware limits, dish up to 1.2 meters. So one thing I do like about this is it is coax powered. You just need one coax cable to go into the motor. So I'll go over that when we go through the unboxing here. Okay. So when you open one of these, here's the manual. Now this motor particularly, what I liked about why I got this motor is it has a round end like my other motor, and it has these ports to it for other motors out there. So you can get this motor, but the problem is, look at that. Look at that right there. Round, egg shaped. Okay? There's no holes going through that. So when you're on eBay, Amazon, and you see a satellite motor, be very careful that it has the appropriate connection. I have two KU band dishes, but I don't have one that will fit this egg-shaped bracket. So this one here, it will fit on there, and it actually has the holes in it because my satellite dishes both will have like a hole that I'll have to put through here to install it. So this is mainly what you want for the North American, I guess what they refer to as North American dishes. It has your LMB and your receiver. So it'll show your degrees, 80 degrees each way. So your dish will hang on this part here. I've seen people do these upside down, but the right way, the way I've done it is I have it hanging down kind of like this. And then the dish is kind of hanging on here, and it goes around like that. Right off the bat, before you install one of these things, I want to emphasize, be very careful with these. These are, it's aluminum. So these screws in here that you put in there to put the bracket on, they can break. What caused me grief with my last motor is I broke off one of the screws. So I'm going to be very careful. One thing I'd emphasize is don't even tighten up everything until you got it going. Like tighten it up so that the wind doesn't knock it around. Nuts and bolts come with this thing. I think there is another thing here that comes with it. So this here, I'll show you guys this. So this one side will have the elevation, and the other side will have the latitude. A lot of people in this hemisphere is about 45-ish degrees around there. So that's probably where you're going to want to have your motor. Okay, so let's go through some. So this is part of the bracket that will go against your pole. You'll have two of them. They'll go like that above each other. So it has all the screws that you'll need to bolt it together. I'm just going to leave that in the bag for now. And now there's these rubber things here. So these rubber things are just to help waterproof your coaxial cable. It just waterproofs your cable there when you put it over and then put it into the so this one here is for your receiver, and this one's for your satellite, your LMB. So this part here you don't even need to tighten up too tight. You can leave that nice and loose. Just have it hanging there. You don't want to make it too tight at this point because you still want to get it hanging over your mount or your tripod or whatever you're going to use to hold this dish up. When you come to the satellite hobby, you might buy one of these things. Okay. It looks like this. A little noisy beeper thing. You turn the DB on and it will tell you where the satellite is. I have a receipt for it. I think this thing can be powered through this power supply with this device here plugged in. Okay, if you want headaches, get this. These are great for if you want headaches. I think it has a compass. I'll show you the compass is gone. That was a one useful thing out of this thing with the compass. Alright, I haven't reviewed this thing before, but these are fit for the pit. I'm just not a fan of this because it will tell you where some satellites are, but not all the satellites, and then you have no idea what satellite you're looking for. So what you want to do, get one of these. Get a SatHero. This is probably my best meter for just holding it up to the dish. Like, you know, obviously you got to connect the coax cable up to it, and then connect it to your dish. Connect your dish's LMB. Even these this meter, like this one, will move the motor. So if you're trying to set up the motor, you're outside. Now, if you don't want to spend the money on one of these, what I recommend is get if you have like a small television set and your receiver, bring those outside. That will help you a lot. I really am. I'm a big fan of these. So this is the first dish that free-to-air satellite dish I bought. My free satellite TV dish is a 36-inch dish, which I'm going to put on the motor. So just have to back off this screw here. So pretty much the weight of the dish will hang on this bolt right here. You can tighten it up to the bracket as well, but that will take the weight of the dish. That's why the holes through the motor help so that you can attach this dish. So I gotta stick the
motor into the little hole here. There we go. Yeah. There, got through. Now you just gotta get it through the other side. There. Fitted it through. I'm so smart. The hardest one. This is one of the hard parts. Put the washer back on there. Tighten it up before you drop your screws through your deck. Another thing, with this setup just for the demo, is I'm gonna use a tripod right here. So this is a tripod you can get for antennas and other things like that. I got a little bit too much post here, as you can see. You don't need that much post. I think someday I might just end up putting this in the ground. When I got this, I had nothing to cut it with, so I just stuck it on, left it the way it was. So another thing you can do with a tripod, hit something. I just screwed like some blocks to the bottom, and I just use bags of sand or bags of salt or something to weigh it down for a temporary setup. So let's say if you're camping or whatever, you want to have a temporary setup, you can do this. Now, you can see there's a little bit of rust there. It's not lightning that does it. You know what does that? This water gets inside these pipes and then they freeze and they expand and they break little holes in them. So it's not the most structurally sound tripod here because I've had it for a few years. Another thing too is when you do set up a satellite dish, get a leveler, make sure it is perfectly straight, which is plump, means plump, you know, like straight, level. This thing's a little off level. And the weight of the dish and the tripod might pull it in a various directions, so keep that in mind. Now these tripods you can adjust. That's the nice thing about these things. You can adjust your plumpness. Get it set up so you're secure. But what's happening, and it's happened out in this very deck, is you leave it out here, heavy wind happens, it's going to blow it down. So the best thing to do, like this is a temporary option, not a permanent option, but the best thing to do is to dig a hole 3 feet deep, like all the rest of my satellite dishes here. You see them in the background there. So yeah, dig a hole 3 feet deep below the frost line, especially in Canada. So get your pole down there. Use some cement, mix it up, and do a hole. I don't know, but that big would be good.
So my tripod setup it's obviously it is not the best setup, but it's the best setup if you don't want to permanently leave your dish. Like if the reason why I have this is if you have a campsite or something like that, like got a trailer, and you want to be able to leave a dish, this would be an excellent option. Which I'll have a link to it over on my store at freesatellitetv.net. There, and there's a shop in there, and you can click on one of the links in order either the dish, tripod, motor, whatever you're looking for.
Introducing the Simply Go Mini. It's from the respiratory experts at Philips.
Humperdinck has an unbelievable version of Release Me. Let's remember that right now.
This will tell me my elevation angle, my latitude. You need to calculate is your deinclination angle. So you take your latitude. So you'll enter on your motor part your latitude, which is 44.2. You'll be able to adjust your deinclination angle. And to calculate that, you go to the deinclination angle table. So I'm at 44, we'll just say 44. So since I'm at 44, my angle should be my elevation angle, which is 44. This minus this, 6.07. So let's go to the old calculator here. To get a calculator, 607 equals 38.59. So that's what my deinclination angle is. So you still set your angle on your motor to this, and then you set your deinclination angle to whatever this is minus that. I know, why don't they just say do that for you and then just tell you what you should be. But so that's where your deinclination angle should be. What I ended up doing was, it was hard to read each little dot on my actual dish part because I've adjusted it so many times. I just basically made sure I got it as close as what I could see it, and I may have adjusted it a hair or two because I couldn't see the exact angle, but I was able to get, even with like a little bit of free play, I was able to get most of the satellites and then just fine tune it to get the whole geostationary arc.
And what I did here is I got this set up just right. And to find my true south, what I did was I entered the USALS on the satellite, drove it out to 87 west, which I had a few channels scanned in, and just loosened off this, and then just moved the dish until I was able to receive 87 west, the Florida channel, which is a strong transponder, and the LPBS channels. So I locked onto those, and then as soon as I locked onto those with the USALS, I was able to receive the other satellites on the arc. And the interesting thing is, there's other satellites that had transponders, but the ones that I had scanned in, even though it was about maybe like 9 degrees or something like 9 degrees off of where my true south was, I was still able to lock it and then able to lock onto the geostationary arc. So you just want to tighten this. Now, one thing that will be a factor is when you do loosen this, this will be off by a little bit. But once you tighten it up, you should be able to adjust that, and you should be able to get the full arc of your geostationary satellites.
So a big thing with your USALS setting is make sure you got a transponder that you know that there's something live on it. That's where you check out the SatHint.com website or TVROsat.com's. Your settings are to USALS or DiSEqC 1.2. The only thing with DiSEqC 1.2, you'll have to manually enter each point where you want your satellite to go, which I used to do that all the time now, but now that I got the USALS working, I'm going to probably stick with that. But if you need to move your dish maybe like a hair, maybe your dish gets blown out on a cold day, you can always go to DiSEqC, drive your dish to where you can lock the signal and do it that way. So I'll talk in my AMSR voice while I have the man, the legend, Bob Ross, give his tutorial for his painting. So here on the Sat Hero, you can see the signal quality that I'm getting an 8.7 dB on the dish. This is the PBS MUX over on 87 West that I was able to lock. And I can move the dish by going to Galaxy 19, and it will say dish moving. It's going to move it over to a Smart Lifestyle. So there's Smart Lifestyle over on Galaxy 19. And it just takes a few seconds for the dish to move over once you have it all set up. And just going through all the channels on Galaxy 19. Some of these I need to kind of delete all these channels and then do a rescan, because some of them have moved transponders or moved symbol rates. So the thing about the hobby of free-to-air is sometimes you'll have to do a rescan and kind of almost do like a reset to your receiver and to just rescan everything, because so many channels do come and go. And of course on Galaxy 19 there's the Smile Child channel, and there's also Positive, I like to call it Posi TV network, and that's the movie channel that's on Galaxy 19. So some satellite receivers will always be different than others. Every satellite receiver I've ever worked with has its quirks and things that you might have to work out. But just looking at the Sat Hero right here, so I got it set to Galaxy 19 for the RT MUX, and you can go through your installation settings. Now on this dish I have a 10750 standard LMB. That's the input frequency. And then you got these other frequencies here, the C-band frequencies, which it's not going to pick up anything because it's not a C-band LMB. It's KU-band frequencies with the transponder frequency, the polarization, and the symbol rate. And also on my meter, now a lot of satellite receivers will have a setup feature where you can go to this setting and find your signal quality as you're adjusting your dish. For the USALS for Galaxy 19, I just have it set with a regular, you just need to enter that once, but with each satellite, you will have to set the motor type to USALS instead of DiSEqC 1.2 for that reason that it will lock in. So if your dish is not moving there, make sure that you do have each satellite with the motor type settings set up for USALS. Please check out freesatellitetv.net. And also check out the new shop where you can order free satellite TV, LMBs, receivers, and dishes, all sorts of things for your free-to-air needs over at the freesatellitetv.net shop.
In Free Satellite TV, also known as free-to-air, I like to call it Free Satellite TV because it's free, the free channels, satellite, and it's TV. So yeah, I prefer the term Free Satellite TV. But yeah, it's true. It will be searched for free-to-air. I gotta be realistic with that. So you can get these things here. They look like splitters for your TV, for if like you've got cable or antenna and you're trying to split to do two different TVs, but they're not. This is a DiSEqC switch. So as you can see, I know I said it wrong, but I can't say it right. But this thing here, it's basically, this is where your receiver goes, and you can have multiple either LMBs or multiple dishes. Now in my setup, I have a couple dishes in my backyard. So I'll have one LMB going to different dishes. My LMB1's always my C-band, because C-band's most of what I watch all the time. And then anything else is pretty much KU band, because I have two extra KU band satellite dishes. So I'm really using like 3 of these, but then there's a 4th one I'm not using. So you can have up to 4. You know, you can get some of these that'll have up to 8 switches, whatever you want. But if you're just getting the hobby, I recommend starting with one of these and then moving your way up. Now this one is also a DiSEqC. I believe it's a DiSEqC command. Now there's other things like this that are not this. I'll just turn this around and we'll ignore it. I don't have one with me anymore, but I can't find it. Is a 22K switch. So you might see in your receiver 22K on, 22K off. What that typically does is turn on the switch inside one of these things. 22K switch, if you have one of these LMBs, one of those Shaw Direct LMBs, the 22K switch on or off will switch from this LMB to this LMB. So some of these LMBs will have like a 22K switch built into it. These LMBs, as I said, I always state in my videos, can be used for free satellite TV. I have one of these. I have it aimed at Galaxy 19. And it just, in the wintertime, it's great, because then I have like a fixed dish right at Galaxy 19. Now what I have been able to do with this, with one of these DiSEqC switches, is say I have a 22K switch in the one, say LMB4, and then it's going to LMB4, I can still switch the switch to be on or off, and then it will send the signal, or it'll go to whatever LMB I have there. So you can have this connected to this, and then run it to a different LMB, which I did do with my CKU band LMB when I was running that. Now you got this thing here too, which is looks like a splitter, and actually this is a splitter. It's not a switch. This is a satellite or digital cable, 5 megahertz to 2.3 gigahertz splitter, but it has a little trick to it. What this will do is so this line here just indicates the power pass. What the power pass will do on this switch allows me to watch multiple, but the receiver that's connected to this one will control the vertical, the horizontal, and also control one of these if you're running multiple dishes to a motor. So if you want one receiver to control your motor, you can do it that way, and then have this, if you don't, because a lot of the receivers now don't have a loop out option. What you're able to do with some of the older receivers is they would have like 2 outputs, or would have a loop out, one of these things, like one of these connections, and you can run a cable from that all the way to another room to another receiver. So if you wanted to run satellites in multiple rooms, get one of these. This one here is how you want to connect it to that main port, so they'll switch your polarity, because your receiver will automatically switch from vertical to horizontal to the LMB. I have a really old digital satellite receiver that I just simply use for a radio, and I'm able to run that signal all the way to the satellite receiver and listen to my radio at night. It's basically like shortwave radio, except all the stuff that's on shortwave is pretty much on Galaxy 19. So here's what botched me the first time is this bolt broke off. It never quite worked the way I needed it to in the installation, so always be careful not to tighten these things in right away, and especially if it's just holding up the top part of the bracket. So the dish won't move very much if you're going to go to the next satellite over. So I'm on 97 West right now, and I'm just going to go over to 99 West to show you how much it moves when it's just moved one satellite over. So find you here. It's hard to see in this glare. Go to 99. So that's all it needed to do for moving over to 99 West. So I'll drive from 99, go over 97 west to 95 KU. So that's all it moved to go 2 satellites over from 99 west to 95 west. On this receiver, it's a little bit slow. That's why I don't think these things are the greatest for testing for signals. They're good for running the motor. The battery in this was powerful enough for this handheld to do it. My SatHero, I need to plug into the wall because the battery was not powerful enough to move the dish because it kept saying LMB error. So if I were to send it over to 87 west from 90, if I was on 95 west, I want to do it to 87 west, which I want to see if Ring of Honor is going to be on a Monday or Tuesday. So there it is there. So with KU band, you'll sometimes get these feeds, and sometimes you'll scan in, you'll see something like this that has like says Sinclair HQ uplink. It's just like a tone and bars is what they call in broadcasting. So this scans in as SGB, and you see the quality in there through the reflection. And there's my settings I got for it to get the Ring of Honor wrestling feed. But there's different sports feeds and TV show feeds that will be on satellite, especially KU band side, that you kind of have to be able to go hunting for. So that's where having a motor is a really great thing to have if you're interested in finding backhauls and wild feeds.
So the channels I've been tuning with KU band has been a lot of the channels on 87 West. There's a bunch of news, channels that scan in as a news source, which have the live news stuff, usually stuff out of Washington. There's a Florida legislation channel. There's 3 PBS channels, PBS Kids and an HD one. There's a patient channel and some lottery channels and different feeds like that on 87 West. But it's a very strong satellite. So moving over to 91 West, there's a few of the news feeds. That's more of a feed satellite, sports, college football, college events and stuff like that. Then when you go over to 95 West, it has the CCTV, the Chinese news channel MUX. That's there. Now the thing about that is 95 West has a very powerful transponder, so that's a good transponder I recommend for trying to lock onto. And then there's Galaxy 19, which has the most amount of channels, but some of the transponders for those channels are a little bit weaker, I find. Trickier to lock into them, but on Galaxy 19 there's a couple hundred channels, hundreds of radio stations you can listen to on Galaxy 19 is a great place to check it out. And another one is 103 West, which has NBC, it has Cozy and like NBC East West, Mountain, and all the 4 time zones for NBC it has on there. And it also has the microspace stuff, which is there's an AOL channel, there's a NHK out of Japan news channel, and I think there's the Chinese news channel there again, which is on a bunch of the satellites. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention that 99 West has InfoWars and JTV and some Russian stations in there. And also 99 West has a lot of news feeds on there. And if you move the dish over, I'm able to lock the Orbi TV transponder with this dish. Now I can't decrypt because the Orbi TV is going to be encrypted. It's a subscription service, but it does show you could use a dish like this to receive Orbi TV, but you'd have to have a separate receiver to receive the free-to-air stuff. If you want to watch a streaming service and you're in a country like Canada, certain programs are region blocked so you can't get it, you can use ExpressVPN if you have a cell phone. So if you use public Wi-Fi, you tell it which area you want to connect to in New York City, connect. So if you're using public Wi-Fi at Walmart, a restaurant, you really should be using a VPN. It will protect your private data, and also it saves you a lot of money. It's a fraction of the cost of what a cell phone data plan is these days. So please check out my YouTube channel, Robbie Strike, and check out all the technology videos and reviews that I've done covering satellite, free-to-air, cell phone, how to do stuff in Linux, how to do stuff in shortwave and old technology, and doing neato things with computers.